time now for Coming In Hot with Brent Wallace and former Ottawa Senator Jason York.
Brent Wallace alongside Jason York. Welcome to Coming In Hot. Yorkie, we finally have now been introduced to Travis Green as the 14th head coach of the Ottawa Senators. And Yorkie, here's what he says more often than not. Firm and fair. It was very evident in this presser that he was going to be holding players accountable.
Should be a new shirt. Firm but fair. It's good, isn't it? If we all lived our lives that way, wouldn't it be great? Firm but fair. No, that's what everybody says. That's what he's going to try and do. And the one thing I did like that he really said to me, we kind of talked about this on the show earlier. You can't, because everybody wants a coach to come in and just throw the garbage can. I'm going to hold you accountable. You're going to do what I say or else. That doesn't work all the time. And Travis mentioned sometimes you got a guy that doesn't have any confidence. So the worst thing you could do is just keep on the guy. So there's, like they say, different strokes for different folks. And that's the key to coaching. Can you figure out the best way how to get the most out of that player? And that's the challenge. That's what all coaches battle with. And it sounds like Travis, that's one of his big things. He prides himself on a guy that can figure out what makes guys tick and how can I get the best out of this coach. And that's great. That's when I coach, that's how I try to do things. You got to be hard. You got to be fair, but you got to try and figure out how do I get the most out of this guy? And for some guys, it's kicking the ass. For other guys, you got to use the white gloves. Other guys, you got to go talk to them every day and you got to give them a pat in the back and you got to make them feel important. Other guys, you just got to leave alone. And that's usually your goalie. You don't want to mess with your goalie. But you figure it out over time. And I listened to the press conference. Mendez asked a really good question, by the way. I'd leave it to Mendez. How do you think you've changed since your time in Vancouver? And he threw it right back at Ian. Well, were you your best self when you were a Cub reporter, Ian? But it is true. You grow, you figure things out, you figure what works, and we'll see. Like I said, everybody's passing judgment that they wanted somebody else, and let's just wait and see. Let's see what Travis Green does, and he comes in, and you got to give a guy an opportunity, and then you pass judgment. So we'll see. I like what he's saying. And all I can say, I know Travis as a player. He had a long career. He was a really good player in this league for a long time, and he lasted so long because he figured out what he needed to do to survive in the league that long. So that's usually a pretty good sign of a guy that's smart and he figures things out. So no, I like everything he said, and the first press conference is always a love-in, so there's not a lot of split finger fastballs coming at you, but it was good. I thought it was handled really well, and I listening to some of the comments out online, I forgot who said it. It's like, Jesus, Travis Green could sell me a rusted Honda Civic right now. So
okay, but I want to get to that, Yorkie. So Steve Stais said it was a perfect fit for our group, massive step for our organization, lots of platitudes. So they interviewed 6 people. Now, or sixth in depth, if you will. I believe there was others.
A half dozen, he said. So there you go, 6.
I figured but through the course of the year, I believe they discussed or chatted loosely with some others. But anyway, so 6 real people they whittled it down to, which sounds like they just got down to it now. Okay, end of the season. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But the only issue, and I can understand Sens fans' frustrations. So the problem is, it's not Travis Green. The problem is everybody wants to see what this organization can do and how it's going to lift this team up and how it's going to make it better. And so only thing they've seen so far is they fired a coach and then they named an interim head coach for the remainder of the season, over 50 games. They took the president and made him the GM.
Yeah.
They traded Vladimir Tarasenko for a 5th round pick. There's been I'm going to say there are missteps along the way that doesn't get the fan base excited. And this is another one where I'm not downplaying Travis Green. I don't know him as a coach. All I'm saying is people wanted something more to grab onto. I can understand that. Now on the flip side,
it's like when everybody had the honeymoon idea of Ryan Reynolds buying the team. It's people get this vision in their head. It's the same thing.
So, but I can totally understand and appreciate they wanted to see something big or a big splash.
For sure.
Now, that being said, I don't know that Travis Green is not the right player, the right coach.
Yeah.
The more and more I see this, and the more, like, you can look at all the former players, and I understand they're former players, but there's no one that's really come out off record or anything and goes, Travis Green can't coach. I don't know. I haven't yet heard that. So this might be the fact, other than the fact he played for the Toronto Maple Leafs, this might be the right fit right now for this group.
The Toronto Maple Leafs thing is actually, we talked about this earlier. It's a really good thing as far as my checklist of coaches, because he really understands. Travis made another great comment about coming back into the rink, standing on the bench, and thinking about the last time he was in the bench and seeing Nealer and Philly. So he understands how much this means. I'll tell you. So to answer your question earlier of what it's going to take to get people on the side of Travis Green, well, when Craig Berube's coaching Toronto and Travis Green's here and Ottawa beats them, there you go. There's your answer. Hey, maybe this guy's
fair enough.
Good. But
that series would take another level. I don't mean to cut you off. The last point about the hire. The only thing with the organization is they haven't left themselves any margin for error with Travis. There has to be a very strong start, and people have to see almost immediate returns for them not to start to sour quickly on Travis Green. I think that's a problem that this organization has built right now.
Well, Ottawa's had horrific starts, and that's what sewered them the last 4 to 5 years under DJ. Travis has a history of getting off to good starts. I thought I read that somewhere, that his teams normally are very prepared. They have good hard training camps, and they come out ready to go. So I don't, for who knows, you just, like I said, we're all throwing darts here at the dartboard and hoping something lands. Nobody knows what's going to happen until the season starts. Just to go back for a sec, I will say this, because McClellan's name was thrown out there. Would you rather have a guy that's been coaching this long and hasn't won? Especially with the talent and stuff. And I don't want to slam Todd McClellan, but I'm just, of all the candidates out there, I don't think it's a bad thing to take a shot on a guy that hasn't coached that long, had a difficult situation in Vancouver where it was kind of a, whatever you want to call it. That wasn't a team built to win.
I think we call it a clusterfuck, Yorkie.
Is that what we call it?
Believe that's what the official term of that was.
Like I said, I wish it was October right now and this move was made, because then we wouldn't have to wait all summer long, because the truth of the matter is nobody knows what's going to happen.
Right.
Nobody knows. Even Steve Stais and Dave Poole and Michael Adler, they're hoping it goes well. They're hoping they got the right guy, but you just never know. So I'm not going to pass judgment on what's been done here until I see how this team comes out in training camp, how this team does an exhibition, how this team starts. And then we'll see. All I can say is, so far, I've been impressed by what he's saying, but all guys come in and say are pretty good at these press conferences. But I will say the things he's hitting on are very prevalent to what Ottawa needs to do differently. And if Travis Green is going to do anything close to what he's talking about, it's going to help. It's going to help. And like I said, this summer too, a couple things need to happen. There needs to be some moves made. Their goalies have to be better. It doesn't matter. Like I said, it doesn't matter what coach you bring in. If your save percentage is what it is last year, again, this year, you're not winning.
31st in the league. Yeah.
You're not winning. I don't care who the coach is. That to me is first and foremost what has to get better.
So the thing I always like about whenever there's a new head coach, the fact that there's a new head coach means it went wrong with the last head coach. Same with a politician. So all you have to do is basically say the opposite to whatever happened. And then everybody's like, oh, they said all the right things. That's exactly what happened today. He also I'm I'm fair. I hold players
Yeah.
accountable. I listen
Yeah.
to them. I do everything I can basically to try and figure out what the right approach is to get them to play the right way. And you have to play a 200-foot game, and you got to be good responsible. Got to be good defensively. He basically said everything it takes to win. They just got to figure out the way to get the Ottawa Senators to do it.
Well, the coaching carousel is crazy right now in the NHL. Like, did Craig Berube become a bad coach? Because he was fired by St. Louis, and they replaced him. They replaced him with Drew Bannister. He's never really coached in the league.
Yeah.
So
look at Chris Knobloch.
Look at Chris Knobloch. Like, he was Connor McDavid's coach in Erie.
And everybody was like, oh, the nepotism. Oh, why don't? And then all of a sudden, he got the best team in the league under his tenure. Listen, he's loaded with stars. Like, let's not pretend this was a marginal hockey team.
I played for Scotty Bowman in Detroit, and to this day, maybe the worst practice I ever had in my life. So, like, I'm telling you, it is what it is. Like, but there's a guy with the most Stanley Cups, and it's just coaching is so crazy. And at the end of the day, I'll die on this whatever. Show me a good goalie, and I'll show you a good coach. It's
fair enough.
But there
have been average goalies.
That's not everything, but it usually helps a friggin' lot.
Right. It covers up a lot of mistakes. Absolutely. So I want you to put the player hat on now.
Player hat on.
So you are now coming into the Ottawa Senators next season with a new guy who's now preached accountability, firm, fair, like that practices will be hard, that this will be a challenge. We're going to make you professional. There's a lot that basically has to happen for this team to be successful. And it doesn't seem like it's going to be a lot of, I'm going to use fun, but you know what I mean? It's going to be a lot of hard work. So what is your reaction right now if you are a star player on the team, having been here 4 or 5 years?
I'm excited because right now, kind of embarrassed about how our team, we said last year as a man, we remember the players last year saying it's time to make the playoffs. And at the end of the day, it's on the players. The players are the guys. We can talk about coaching, and you need a coach to hold guys accountable and have hard practices. I played for Barry Trotz, some of the easiest practices I've had in my life. But we won. We made the playoffs with a very average team. The trick to coaching is get the players to believe that you've got their back, and get those players to go through a wall for you and play smart and don't turn the puck over and get some saves. So it's pretty basic what the trick to coaching is. So if I'm a player, I'm excited because now it's on me. I changed the coach. Excuses are thrown out the window. Now it's time for the players to go out and perform. And you can only, like, we're talking about like Travis Green having hard training camps, whatever, hard training. Everybody comes to training camp in shape. Nobody comes to training camp out of shape anymore. During the season, you don't have time to practice hard all the time. It's about resting and recovery. So I'm not worried about all that stuff. I'm just Brady Tkachuk, excited. Claude Giroux, excited. If you're not excited right now, then you shouldn't be on the team. Because it's a challenge, and guys that make the NHL love challenges, and they love when it's on them.
So, but not every player likes to be challenged and pushed. Fair?
Not every player likes to be embarrassed. Like sometimes I would say,
but there are players who have been in the National Hockey League that are only there because they're really good at playing hockey and the paycheck is really good. But they just go through the motions. Fair?
Yeah, but they don't win.
Okay. All I'm saying is Travis Green says he says he has non-negotiables.
Yes.
And I'm just curious if you start to hear that. Does it resonate? Does it matter? Is it just lip service?
I believe him. I think if, let's take, for example, I don't know, we'll take a player like...
well, he says your best players have to lead.
Yeah, so if your best player is turning the puck over in the wrong area of the ice, he'll sit him down. Like there'll be a conversation. It's going to be different now. If you go back to whatever, a year or two ago when Ottawa's top players kept making mistakes, and there was no consequence. There has to be a consequence now.
Yeah.
But I maintain I just think this roster is going to look a little different, Wally, when training camp rolls around too. I think there's going to be some more competition for jobs. I think there's going to be some older guys brought in. I think they're going to set this team up to have a little more success in the way they're built, because I don't like how they're built right now. I don't.
So I'm going to get to that because you said it's on the players right now. First, this show proudly presented by Betway. Please play responsibly. It must be 19 plus. Go to betway.ca. Also by BEI, Bonisher Excavating Inc. Give them a call, 613-432-1120 or bonisherexcavating.com. And by Wendy's. Make sure you download the Wendy's Rewards app. So you said it's on the players now. Until you drop the puck, it's on Steve Staios right now. I think Steve Staios is now, he's got his coach.
Yep.
He's got a 7th overall pick to play with if he needs to, but it's on him to build. This is not a playoff roster. So, and which is one of the reasons why he gave Travis Green a 4-year contract, because he knows that this is probably 2 or 3 years away, but he's got to start to show that this team is headed in the right direction. I think it's on him before we see it on the players.
Well, just look at that left side. We've been talking about that left side of the Ottawa Senators defense now all season long. I could almost guarantee you that that's going to look different when training camp opens up next year. It has to. You've got too much of the same thing. You need to bring in a defensive defenseman that's got some experience, that just plays a simple game. I do believe, and this is just my opinion, I haven't been told anything, I don't have insider information, but to me, that's just common sense. If you look at that blue line right now, and if you watch the playoffs, and you're looking how teams defend and how hard it is to get to other teams' nets and get inside position, look at the teams right now. They have big, long, strong, defensive-minded defensemen. Ottawa has to address that, and I believe they will.
Even I think it was Chris Pronger on the Overdrive yesterday when you were on just before, I talked about everybody has 1 or 2 stud D-men. But I'm going to put this to you. There is money next year. The cap is going up, depending on how you put it at forward. Would you be okay if that left side stayed the same and they were able to add somebody on the right side without touching the left side? Do you feel, can you, right? Like, do you have to touch the left side in order to make the team better? Because I'm not sure Tyler Kleven right now, if this team wants to really start to push, is ready to play in the National Hockey League. You saw him play the other night. How I thought he's very good. He's extremely talented. There's just playing D in the National Hockey League when you're playing against Steve Stamkos is a lot different than you're playing in the AHL. So I just think he needs a little bit. My point is he could play on the Ottawa Senators next year, but they would be the same type of team, not very good. You understand my point? Like, if you want to really be a challenging for a playoff spot type team, like 8th, 9th, 10th, then I'm not sure he's in the mix.
You watching? I forget the kid's name again, but watch the Boston series right now. Number 6.
Oh,
on the blue line on the blue line right now for Boston. He's 6'5"
or whatever.
Yeah, it's a lot. People know who I'm talking about, but this kid barely has any experience in the league, and he's playing like an absolute stud right now. He's big, he's long, he can move, he can skate. He's actually a little more offensive than defensive, but that's the trend in the league right now. You got big bodies back there that are long, good sticks. You got Brendan Carlo back there. You look at Jacob Slavin, what he's doing in Carolina. Every team's got him. I just think Ottawa's missing that on their blue line right now. And this is a huge summer for Tyler Kleven because he's big. I'll use it again. He's long. He can skate. So
he's mean.
He's mean. So, this is a team that's going to grow together. I think he's going to get every opportunity to make the team. If he comes in, he's ready and plays a simple, hard game.
This is going to be this off topic because I just wanted to talk about Travis Green. But if you've got Jake Sanderson, Jacob Bernard-Docker, and Tyler Kleven on your blue line, all NHL players, I'm just not sure that it's the recipe for success of challenging for a playoff spot. So are we just another year?
That's why
continuing to build?
That's why I think they the prudent thing would be, if it's easier said than done, because teams don't give these guys away. But if you could find a way to bring in a good, solid right shot D, that would improve this blue line drastically.
Right.
Then you can have the conversation. Do you keep all three of those guys on the left side, and you keep Zub and Sanderson together? But it's just, you have three guys that are first power play guys. Jacob Chychrun's a first power play guy.
Absolutely.
Thomas Chabot's a first power play guy. Jake Sanderson is on Ottawa's first power play. You don't need three first power play guys. I'm sorry, you don't. And when that trade was made, it made no sense. And all three of those players are good players. And if I'm Jacob Chychrun, I want to go somewhere where I'm going to run a first power play because I want to get paid.
Fair enough. I think if you can move Brandstrom and free up the $2 million, I think you can add a pretty good D-man at $5 million, like an extra $3 million, maybe $4 million.
Brandstrom's contract is up.
Yeah. Sorry, but he's RFA.
He's an RFA.
Yeah, so I don't see them you're not letting him walk. That'd just be stupid asset management.
It's just going to be
feel
tough.
That they could probably get him signed.
You could and that's the other thing. If you make the decision to get rid of one of your big three on the left, perhaps that opens up an opportunity for Brandstrom to come in and be your little puck moving guy that gets a little bit of power play time. Like, the problem is Brandstrom's been playing.
You didn't have to say little puck moving defenseman.
Well, that's what he is. He's good, but you already have three big puck moving defensemen, so and they're all shoot left.
All right. Back to Travis Green. We now wait to see how the assistants go, and if it's Alfie. That's an interesting one. I'm not sure that it's going to be Alfie on the bench, but I'm interested to see if it happens.
I don't know.
He played for Jack Capuano, by the way.
Travis did?
Yeah, he was an assistant coach, I think, in Long Island when he was there.
Okay.
But I don't know how all that stuff's going to break down with Ben Sexton and whatnot. I don't know how much latitude he has to bring in a staff, but I think nowadays the assistant coaches are very important to a hockey organization. And I think that's key. Especially your D coach, Wally. Because your forward, your head coach, generally a rule of thumb changes the forwards. D coach is back there with his six guys, and he's changing the D. The odd time the head coach might come down and overrule him. So there's a lot of big decisions that need to go on. And every great D coach I've had, you have your own relationship with your D coach. Like, you have your head coach relationship, right? But
really good D coaches have a way of bringing the group together. When you do your D to D or your D forward splits, we go down to the end of our ice. We do our thing. We talk about things. We bash the forwards. We have a rule. I've said this before. Defensemen's union. You never trust a forward because they will hang you out to dry.
Yes.
And then you get this bond, this camaraderie. The D guys always sit together in the room, and you're usually the smartest guys on the team, so you make fun of everybody else. You win the card games.
Making stuff up.
So it's going to be an important hire if they decide to go a different route, and that's where I think you could potentially see John Gruden's name come back into the mix as a potential guy that comes in, and if they decide to make that move. I'm not trying to slag Jack Capuano or anything, but if they decide to make a change, I could see Gruden being a really good candidate for that job.
Yeah, and even I believe Jeff Merrick and Elliot Friedman on their 32 Thoughts again reiterated John Gruden.
Who do you think they got it? Who do you think they got it from?
Steve Stamps. It'll be I'm excited to see how this plays out in the summer because as you said, there has to be change. We know the coach now. We know he's going to want certain players or a certain type of player, right? So I'm anxious to see what he molds this team into and where he thinks that bottom six is, and perhaps the bottom two pairing on D. Those are crucial for this team right now.
Rick, well, look at the playoffs right now, how important your third line is. It's massive. It's massive if you want to win in this league. They've got to be your third line is the line you trust the most as a coach.
They all get paid.
They get paid. You know they're not going to screw you over. You know they're going to make good decisions, and you know you can trust them. And that's the point I made earlier when we were on our show we did earlier. It's pretty telling when Jacques Martin trusted Rourke Chartier more than any under probably 90% of his forwards. That tells you something.
And like we look at Tampa, I think it all the time. Yeah, Yanni Gourde, Barclay Goodrow, even Anthony Cirelli, all second line players on another team, if you will.
Yanni Gourde was so good on those Tampa teams.
So good. So those guys, and that's what I meant by they end up getting paid, because if you succeed on a third line in a playoff team, you end up with a big contract.
Well, if we look at Ottawa's lineup right now, you throw Stützle in the one slot. We're not sure where Josh Norris is going to be, and then you probably have Pinto at your two, and then you got Ridley Gregg, your third line center to start the year. You got Kastelik. So I didn't mind Gregg on the wing, to tell you the truth. I thought he did a real nice job on the wing.
He just needs to be a top 9 spot, but I'm still under the hope that Josh Norris lines up at center come puck drop.
Yeah, I hope he has a good summer and gets everything back to 100%. Man, it's just but we'll see. Shoulders are a funny thing.
Yep. All right, Yorkie. Enjoy your weekend. I know there's let's temper the expectations on Travis Green, or let's temper all the upsettedness.
Upsettedness.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's unfortunate. People have to wait, but give the guy a chance. Yeah.
Let's see what happens. All right, Yorkie. Yeah. Enjoy your weekend. See you Monday. Yeah. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks for tuning in to Coming In Hot. If you enjoyed the show, hit that like button and be sure to subscribe to never miss an episode.